Coming up on today's episode of Spiral Up, we're diving into something that I know that you felt, that low-level anxiety that creeps in when you didn't do enough. We're pulling back the curtain on the lie that your worth is based on your to-do list. And I'm going to get really personal about what my broken toe is teaching me about sacred rest, healing, and surrendering our identity as performers. If you have been craving permission to slow down without guilt, this is your moment.
Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up.
Hey, sweet friend. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, and this episode is coming to you from a situation, I guess, that I did not expect to be in with my foot propped up because, yes, I literally just broke my toe. And while a part of me wanted to push through, slap on a cute shoe, and keep hustling, the deeper truth was that I didn't just need to stop. I was being invited to. Now, I'm going to tell you a little about this journey of me breaking my toe and what this has been teaching me. And I also want to integrate it with a really great conversation that I had recently. So you see, I've been going to this networking group about once a month for the last several months, and it's been phenomenal. And every single month, we have an opportunity to essentially pick a card out of a deck, knowing full right that it is the exact card that we're supposed to be talking about. And in my little small group, I think there were 4 of us in there, we pulled the card that literally said, "Your worth is not tied to your to-do list." And it was like, oh my goodness, because literally just a few days before that, I had broken my toe and I am essentially being forced into what I would call sacred rest, knowing that God has a plan for me and that I'm going to basically be sharing to you guys a little bit about what he's revealed to me in this space and a little just behind the scenes stuff. So you see, this injury really has become part of this, what I'm going to call a sacred interruption. It's not punishment. It's not failure. It's not proof that I'm falling behind. But what it's been is an invitation to receive, an invitation to rest, not because I earned it, but because it's holy. And what I think that I had to acknowledge and be able to essentially be forced to see is that so many of us lie to ourselves, especially as high achieving women, and we carry that in our nervous system. We literally allow for our value to be tied to how much we get done. Now, I don't know if you've ever done this, but you had a crazy busy day. You did your very best with what you had from where you were, and you lay down at night and you're laying there and it's like, okay, I literally judge my day based off of how much I got done. And if it was, a good day, I had accomplished a lot. If it was a bad day, I had a lot of things that were left undone. And it just created this space in me where it's like, now I suck and now I have to do it all over again. Now, I've definitely been able to appreciate and to get into the frequency of love and joy and flow and peace and gratitude, let me tell you. But some of the stuff definitely creeps in a time or two. And I think that God knew that I needed a secret reset in order to remember that, yes, it's okay to be busy, but your worth is not tied to that to-do list. Now, some insight about me, as well as I'm a human design generator, which means that I have a lot of energy and I get a lot of stuff done. I'm inspired to do lots of things and it happens. Like I am able to make it happen. And one of the things I've learned about myself as a manifest or as a generator in human design is that we are able to essentially allow for satisfaction or frustration to be able to guide us on whether or not we're on the right path or not. Satisfaction is that yellow brick road that I'm following. And whenever I'm getting frustrated, that's a sign for me that I'm off track. Well, I got to tell you that it's really freaking satisfying for me to get stuff done. And it's really frustrating when that stuff does not get done. So I have to allow myself the grace to know the difference, right? The grace to know that God created me exactly the way that I am. He created me to accomplish a lot. He created me with a lot of energy to get things done. He created me with this guide rail of satisfaction, frustration to help me. But the difference, my friend, is that it's not when it's tied to my worth. That if it doesn't get done, that it doesn't mean that I am bad or that I don't deserve to rest. Those are totally different situations. And that's what we're really going to dive into today. Okay. So I think first off, I wanted to say that if you can relate to this, like you're not alone. And we can really benefit from diving into essentially where this comes from. And I want to break it down with you. So, some of us, most of us actually, are probably used to being praised, especially when we're little, for being good helpers, right? We grow up and productivity becomes our love language, and efficiency then therefore becomes our identity. And we're rewarded with attention or things or, you know, that feeling of being good enough when we did what we are supposed to do. We, surprise mom and dad by getting a couple extra chores done, all that stuff, which is great. And those are things that we can definitely instill in our kids, and we can still do things to people to allow for that act of service to be our love language, right? But again, it cannot be tied to our worth. And that if I don't do it, therefore I'm not worthy of your love. Or if I do it, then I am worthy of your love. That's the difference. So we oftentimes will recognize that 95% of what goes on inside of our brain, inside of our consciousness, is actually running in autopilot in the background, in our subconscious. That our conscious thoughts are really only taking the wheel 5 to 10% of the time. And of that 95% that's going on in the background, like a broken record, much of it was actually formed before we were even 7 years old. So if we can think back to that behavior that was rewarded, or what we assumed to be the right behavior as we took that limited context that we had, we started to build upon it. And then what happens is we become adults, and that same program is continuing to be that well-worn path in the woods, right? And we enter business ownership, we enter motherhood, we enter marriage, we might even be in the ministry. And the message gets louder and louder: to be useful, to be needed, to be busy. So this subconscious wiring that I've been talking about creates this narrative that if I'm not producing, therefore I'm not valuable. If I rest, I'm falling behind. If I don't do it all, I'm failing. And that, my friend, is a trauma loop disguised as a schedule. Now, I am such a nerd when it comes to productivity and time management, and I love the schedule, and I love working smarter, not harder, and all those things. But again, it has to be this acknowledgement of the intention behind it. Am I doing it because I want to make a big impact and it feels good and it's fun, it's satisfying, it's delicious, like I tell my clients? Or is it because I feel like I have to in order to earn the love, the attention, the worthiness from the people that I care about, even God? Now, that's something that's really interesting, because I think that a lot of times we confuse this service with being holy. And I want to get into that in a second. But before I do, I want to tell you about a couple of my clients, because this is really interesting. I think that some of you guys might relate to this. So I have a couple of clients that have come to me and they're like, Lachelle, I really do want to work smarter, not harder. I am burnt out. I feel like I'm on this like rat race, this 24/7, where I'm constantly being asked to perform, whether it be with my family or with my business, or maybe they have a full-time job that they're trying to juggle alongside of their growing side gig and all the things that are happening, right? And so they are ready to slow down, but they don't want to necessarily slow down their progress or productivity. So they're afraid that if they take rest, if they slow down, then everything's going to come crashing down. All right. And what we've been able to do is reframe this. And so the moment that they're like, okay, I get it, that I can actually continue to grow, we can work smarter, harder, that feels good. But then they have another self-sabotaging behavior that comes in, because what I'm seeing is that we have on one hand this desire for time freedom and to be able to have a bigger impact with less time, and to have the flow and the joy and the peace, right? That's on one hand. On the other hand, though, they have a subconscious belief that if I am not working 24/7, I must be lazy. If I am not a hard worker, then don't know who I am. That is not okay with me. Like, that's my identity. I am not a lazy person. I am a hard worker. So they had this identity of I am a hard worker. And that identity on one hand is conflicting with the other thing that they say they want on the other side. We call it a double bind. And so because the two of them are conflicting beliefs, you'd end up getting neither. Or you end up sabotaging yourself because just when you get close to being able to reach what it is that you're trying to manifest, you actually start to invoke behaviors that are going to bring you back down to where you have always been. And so if you're like, I would love to have this freedom and this flow, but I am not a lazy person, you are going to continue to add things to your plate, even though you're all caught up, even though you've learned how to work smarter, not harder, even though you have created as much productivity in 4 hours as you used to in a week. You're going to continue to add more and more and more and more and more to your to-do list because it's just the way that your identity is wired as I am a hard worker. And what happens is that we have these desires that are in conflict with our identity, and our identity is going to win every time. And so we allow this all or nothing, black or white situation to tell us that if I either can have peace, but that means I'm lazy, right? Or I work really hard and never have any time off, but that means I'm a hard worker. And so we have this all or nothing situation going on. What I want to invite any of you guys to do, if you feel like that is something that is describing you, is I want you to essentially put a crack in your butt. So it's like, I would love this, but I am a hard worker and I can't possibly take off. I would love this, but I'm not a lazy person, right? And so I'm going to ask you to consider, where is the actual truth in that? Like, are there people that you know that have wealth and impact and abundance and time freedom, but they're not lazy, right? And they're not lazy, right? Like, can you think of an example? And if you can think of an example, then okay, all of a sudden now we have this crack in our butt. We have a crack in the belief system. And I say but is an excuse, right? But it's also belief underestimating truth. And the truth is that I can be both. The truth is that I know examples of all kinds of people that are super impactful. They have a ton of abundance and they have work-life balance. And I would never call these people lazy. I would never say they're not hardworking. They're just super smart with their time. They're very intentional. And so the moment that I was able to essentially put that crack in that butt and I was able to say, okay, that all or nothing black or white paradigm that I had is not as actually as true as I thought it was. And so I think of examples that are going to prove me wrong, right? And then I can start to explore. Now, my brain is going to naturally be drawn to the things that align with its current paradigm. So your belief system that are running in the background through your subconscious all the time are literally telling your reticular activating system in your brain to continue to filter out anything that does not align with that. The moment that you start to say, wait a minute, I see an example that's an anomaly. Wait, this is not as true as I thought it was. You can actually have your brain on a conscious level start to look for evidence that proves your new belief correct. And then you will, over time, find that it becomes more and more and more of the default. But you have to start with that initial conscious decision to do that, okay? Now, I want to go back to this whole spiritual misinterpretation thing because I think this is important, especially for fellow believers like myself. We grow up in the church and we're taught that we must serve and that it is at the expense of my own well-being, right? Like I have to say yes. I should say yes, even if I'm tired, even if I don't have time. It's just my obligation, my duty. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's the holy thing to do, right? So as faith-driven women, we often confuse obedience with overextending ourselves. And we confuse being available to God with being on call for everyone. And we believe that self-sacrifice equals spiritual maturity and that rest, therefore, is selfish. But let me remind you that even Jesus withdrew from the crowds. Even he didn't heal everyone. Even the creator of the freaking universe said it is good and rested. So friend, if the divine rests, what makes us think that we're holy by skipping it? Like, that doesn't really make sense, does it? So here is my little truth with a hug. You are not your output. Your output does not define you. It does not define your worth. You are not lazy. You are tired of performing. You are not behind. You are just being redirected. You are not failing. You're being redefined. And I'm going to say this very, very clearly, that your worth is not waiting at the bottom of your to-do list. You are already worthy, already enough, already held. Now, I brought up the fact that I broke my toe here early in this episode, and that was the thing. So a little backstory, like it was not even a fun, like I don't even have a fun story to go with it. This is so stinking stupid. But I was literally helping out my hometown hospital, and it was 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was in the hospital parking lot ready to go home, and I stepped on an uneven piece of pavement, and the strap of my shoe, which is really flexible, just kind of shifted enough when I stepped on that uneven pavement, and it slipped, and my whole, like my foot slipped, and then I fell. And it was so stinking like annoying because I fell, and then I was going to get into my car to go home. And then I got a call like, hey, Lachelle, we need to come back in and check this epidural. And so I like hobbled in and gosh, put my foot up, iced it the rest of the night, taped it with some stuff that I had at home. And the next day I got called in to do an epidural again. And I hobbled down to the ED, and I was like, can you just look at this and tell me like how I can tape this better? And sure enough, like they x-rayed it, and they're like, Lachelle is broken. Like you are non-weight bearing for the next 6 weeks. And I don't even have a fun story. Like literally I would just walk you through a parking lot. But I really, really, really had to sit, I guess, in this lesson of what I believe God was doing for me. And I believe that everything is perfectly perfect, and that he does things for us all the time, but we have to be willing to look for it. And I had been going 1,000 miles an hour. I've shared with you guys my experience of my quantum timeline jump, and life has been insane. It has been such a cool, amazing, fun insaneness. But nonetheless, like busy, right? Like we're renovating this house, and we have all these things going on. And when I prayed on it, I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, and I'm like, here I'm on call, right? And I have the planner full of undone tasks. And normally what happens is my family will come in and stay with me when I'm on call on the weekend. So it's kind of this like fun opportunity for my kids to come in and see their grandpa and grandma. And if I get called in here and there, like it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Well, this time they didn't come because my daughter had a birthday party and my son had something going on. And so they stayed home. And normally if I am, at the house when I'm on call and my family's not there, like I just work like nonstop because I love being home with them and making sure that they become a priority for me. So if I can get things done when they're not there, like I'm doing it. And so my natural tendency is just to push through, to plow through. And what's so fascinating is that when I recognize that coherence, that heart-brain connection that I spoke about at that retreat in Utah that led to my quantum timeline jump, I had to recognize that I wasn't feeling the creativity, the excitement that I needed. And I knew that in my heart, in my bones, that it was not because I was lazy or that I was unmotivated. It was literally because God is like, Lachelle, I want you to rest. I want you to rest. Like I felt like this aha, like I'm not a machine. I'm a miracle. And I need to stop treating myself like a productivity robot. Like, yes, it was fun. Yes, I would do all the things, but it's like he really had to help me understand that I'm being anchored in this new timeline, and that I must give my body time to recalibrate, my body time to rest, my body time to settle. And if I keep going 100 miles an hour, it can't do that. It can't catch up. And it kind of wrecked me, honestly, because I realized that I had snuck into a little bit of the old patterns about confusing my purpose with performance. And I had been chasing peace through accomplishment when peace only ever really lives in the present, right? When we thinking about the future of all the things we have to get done, we think about the past and all the things we didn't get done. Peace is in the present right now. And the peace in this present was like, you need to sit, you need to rest. So this broken toe had really been a gift in disguise, because when I couldn't do, I had to sit and face the discomfort of simply being. No output, no crossing things off, just presence. And it taught me that rest reveals what hustle tries to hide. Because we distract ourselves with the hustle sometimes. And I realized that that's what I've been doing. And so without the distraction of the constant movement, I had to sit with myself. I had to sit with my unhealed expectations, with my fear of disappointing people, with my attachment to being the one that gets things done. That's the whole word, isn't it? Like, holy crap. And so he forced me to essentially sit in my feelings, sit in the things, and allow myself to heal any little parts of me that still need to be healed without the distraction of the hustle, so that I could support my nervous system in this new timeline. So what I want to do is I want to leave you guys with a couple of different things that you can do that are going to help you to pull yourself out of that hustle loop and back into peace. Okay, does that sound good? I'm going to call this the Worth Rewire. It is 3 steps. And the first thing I want you to do is just simply ask yourself, if I believed I was already enough, what would I do next? If I believed I was already enough, what would I do next? This one little question is going to help you to recognize, like, holy crap, am I allowing productivity to creep into my worth? Like, am I okay saying no? Am I okay just sitting in the pool? Am I okay taking a nap? Am I okay to go to bed early? Sometimes the answer is rest. Sometimes it's delegate. Sometimes it's literally make some tea and stare out the window. But if you believe that you are already enough, what would you do next? And allow that to be your guide. You're going to be able to recognize when those patterns of hustle and productivity and chasing peace is creeping in your life. Now, the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to reframe some old paradigms, some old belief systems. So one may be for you, I'm only valuable when I'm productive. My day is only good when I get everything crossed off, right? But a new belief that you can adapt is, I am valuable because I exist. My presence is powerful. My presence right now, not thinking about what I have to get done or what I didn't get done, but right now, my presence is powerful. I am valuable simply because I exist. And again, anytime that you're changing your thought processes, it's going to feel hard at first. It's going to feel like you're forging through this brand new, path in the woods. But the more you do it, the easier that path gets, the more worn it gets, the faster that your body just naturally goes to that as its truth. But sometimes you have to give it some time and some repetition, okay? And then the third thing that I want you to do is I want you to schedule 10 minutes of rest with no agenda. Not for downloads, not for strategy, just presence, just you, just peace. And this is going to allow for anything that needs to be healed to be able to come up. This is just going to give you your nervous system regulation. No expectations. No expectations, just allowing silence, to allowing rest, to allow just you to be alone with your thoughts. And let it reveal to you exactly what you need next without the expectation of this aha download, because that might happen automatically. But just allowing and see what happens, okay? So let's play this out. What if you no longer need to prove anything? What if success came not from pushing more, but from believing more deeply in your already enoughness? What if the breakthrough that your soul is craving is on the other side of the surrender? Because hear me, there's a new timeline available, and it's not built on burnout. It's built on being. It's built on being. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love when I talk about this is recognizing that the old patterns that we have that are running in the background can impact our ability to have the peace and the joy and the flow, and that there are ways that we sabotage ourselves without even realizing it. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the women that come on my Becoming Experience retreat that is currently open for enrollment right now, is because we identify those self-sabotaging beliefs. And we allow for the reset of those belief systems, and we allow for the reset of the nervous system, so that you can understand that you are already worthy of rest, that you're already worthy of everything that God has placed in your heart as a desire. And we teach you how to get more done with less time, for sure. But it's in the worthiness of knowing that you're worth the delegation to other people, that you're worth the time to rest without having anything, being expected from your to-do list. And it's the paradigm, it's the identity shifting that allows you to see yourself differently from a place of power and peace versus constant productivity and production and proving. And when you can allow that to shift in yourself, it changes your vibration. It changes your ability to manifest. It changes your clarity. It changes the things that are getting in your way. And it's so unbelievably powerful because it is literally helping you to do life and business from a different frequency. It's not a business boot camp. It's not just another leadership summit. It's a recalibration, literally, of identity, energy, and alignment. It's a holy place where high-achieving, faith-driven women get to lay down their proving, realign with peace, and heal from hustle, and remember who God actually created them to be. You see, we're not going to fix anything because you're not broken. You're going to become the woman who leads from rest, receives an overflow, and reclaims her time, her truth, and her presence. I just had a couple of enrollments just within the last couple of days, and so there are a few spots left. And if your heart is saying, this is for me, I want you to trust that, okay? You can go to the link in the show notes to check out the retreat and apply so that I can meet you. I can make sure that you are a good fit, as well as that this is going to be giving you what you need. So I can customize things, my suggestions to what you tell me in our little session. So I just want you to know that there's no pressure, just a sacred invitation, okay? So as we wrap up, sweet friend, I just want you to know that you don't have to do more to be more. That you are not your checklist, that you are not your schedule. You are a divine expression of God who rests. So I want you to breathe. I want you to unhook. I want you to let today be enough because you are enough. And until next time, my friend, I want you to keep spiraling up.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.